Imagine waving your teenage child goodbye as they go off to a party. You remind them of their curfew and tell them to get back early, but they never did. This is the haunting situation for the Beasley and Hawlett families of Ozark, Alabama. Two best friends went to a party. They couldn't make it to the party, and they didn't make it back home. The two teenagers were found in the trunk of the car. They traveled with gunshot wounds to the head. Who could have executed these girls, and for what purpose? Welcome back to CrimeMystic8, where we cover solved, unsolved, and mysterious cases from across the globe. Today, we are looking at the 19-year-old cold case of J.B. Beasley and Tracie Hawlett that left the Ozark residents perplexed for nearly 2 decades. But first, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please hit the subscribe button and like this video. So without further ado, let's dive right into this mystery. Ozark is located in Dale County, Alabama. With a population of more than 14,368 according to the 2020 census, it is the principal city of the Ozark Micropolitan Statistical Area. The city's history dates back to 1822 when John Merrick Sr., a Revolutionary War veteran, became the first European settler. Initially named Merrick's and later changed to Woodshop, the town finally adopted the name Ozark in 1855. Ozark boasts a good environment to start a family. It was a quiet town until the gruesome murder of 2 teenagers in 1999. J.B. Hilton Green Beasley was born on July 31, 1981 in Troy, Alabama, to parents Cheryl and Hilton. After her parents' separation, she relocated to Dothan with her mother in 1984. Growing up, she was cherished by her mother and her stepfather, Joey Burgoon, whom her mother married a few years later. During her time in high school, J.B. Beasley crossed paths with Tracie Hawlett, her fellow cheerleader. Their connection was instant, and they quickly became best friends, sharing countless memorable moments. Tracie Jean Hawlett was born to Carolyn Robert Hawlett on March 3, 1982. Unfortunately, Tracie lost her father, who worked in the Dothan Police Department, when she was only 5 years old. Her mother, Caroline, later married a man named Mike Roberts, who played a significant role in raising Tracie alongside her mother. Tracie was naturally reserved, the stark opposite of her outgoing friend, J.B. Beasley. However, she always had a selfless nature and prioritized the needs of others. Both girls were in the process of growing into adulthood, with hopes and lofty dreams for the future. Little did Tracie and J.B. Beasley knew that their lives would take a tragic turn on July 31, 1999. To celebrate J.B.'s 17th birthday, the best friends embarked on a journey to a field party nearby Headland, located about 10 miles north of Dothan. They traveled in J.B.'s reliable 1993 black Mazda 929 and set off for a party hosted by their friend Jana. The teenagers left Tracie's house around 10 p.m. and were sighted in Headland approximately 30 minutes later. Realizing they were lost, they decided to stop at a nearby gas station for better directions to the party. An hour later, they found themselves unexpectedly in Ozark, a town over 20 miles northwest of Dothan. They pulled up at the closed Big Little convenience store on E. Broad. St. Tracie used the payphone at the store to call her mother, Carol Roberts, and inform her of their unintended detour to Ozark, but assured her that they were on their way back home. Tracie ended the call with, "Mom, I love you, be home soon." But she didn't return home soon. In fact, she never returned home at all. Carol Roberts, exhausted from her grueling double shift as a nurse aide, fell into a deep sleep after receiving the call from her daughter. She awoke at 5 a.m. only to realize that Tracie had not yet returned home. Alarm bells immediately rang in Carol's mind. Tracie was never late, and this deviation from her usual punctuality signaled that something was wrong. At 8 a.m. on August 1, 1999, Carol dialed the Dothan Police Department. Officers swiftly initiated a search along the roadways, hoping to uncover any traces of a possible motor vehicle accident. As noon approached, the Dothan police dispatched an investigator to Ozark to have the vehicle towed back to Dothan. While they awaited the arrival of the tow truck, a remarkable realization struck the Dothan investigator. The trunk of the vehicle could be opened using an internal lever, rendering the missing keys unnecessary. After 6 hours, the trunk was finally opened. Inside, a heartbreaking sight awaited them: JB and Tracie, lifeless and still. The officers immediately began an investigation. They took the details of the crime scene. Both girls were discovered inside the car's trunk, clothed but visibly dirtied. Both girls' pants were damp below the knee, and JB was also soiled and muddy. She had been shot in the cheek of her face. Rape kits were administered, and subsequent autopsies revealed no presence of drugs or alcohol in their systems. At the time, no official confirmation was given regarding whether either girl had been sexually assaulted, likely out of consideration for their families. However, it later emerged that JB's bra, panties, and skin bore traces of semen. Additionally, a palm print was found on the trunk lid and admitted into evidence. During the investigation, a witness named Barentine came forward with a story that raised suspicion. He claimed to have heard 2 gunshots on the night of the murders and identified the alleged perpetrator as his neighbor, who lived less than a mile away from Herring Avenue. However, Barentine did not mention anything about a sexual assault in any of his accounts. Following his recollection of the events, Barentine was arrested and charged with 2 counts of capital murder. However, he later retracted his confession, asserting his innocence and admitting that he fabricated the story to claim the reward money. DNA analysis did not match Barentine's DNA with the evidence found at the crime scene. In addition to Barentine, authorities turned their attention to other potential suspects in the case. One was a man from Michigan who was in the area during the time of the murders and lacked an alibi for a 3 to 4 hour time frame that night. He also made suspicious remarks regarding the incident. However, DNA testing did not match his DNA with the evidence found at the scene. Lastly, a man from Mississippi, who was visiting relatives in Ozark at the time, left town 2 days after the murders. He was extradited from Jones County, Mississippi, due to an outstanding warrant for possession of drug paraphernalia from Ozark. Like the previous suspects, his DNA did not match the DNA obtained from the crime scene. Despite these leads, none of the additional suspects yielded conclusive evidence linking them to the murders of the 2 teenagers. The case remained unsolved, leaving the community and law enforcement searching for answers and justice. In 2019, as the 20th anniversary of the murders drew near, the Ozark Police Department reopened the case and adopted a fresh approach in their pursuit of justice. The law enforcement community was aware of the apprehension of Joseph James DeAngelo, known as the Golden State Killer, utilizing a groundbreaking technique called forensic DNA phenotyping. Intrigued by the potential breakthrough it could offer, the Ozark police saw an opportunity to leverage this science in their investigation. Forensic DNA phenotyping involves predicting the physical appearance traits of unknown individuals or deceased persons directly from biological evidence found at the crime scene. By utilizing genealogical databases and the DNA voluntarily submitted by family members, law enforcement agencies can identify potential suspects. The Ozark investigators entrusted their DNA evidence to trusted labs, and there was a match: Coley Lewis McCraney. Coley McCraney, a 45-year-old resident of Dothan, was charged with 5 counts of capital murder and 1 count of first-degree rape. At the time of the tragic murders, Coley Lewis McCraney, who would have been 25 years old, found himself in personal challenges. He was divorced from his first wife and embroiled in a pending paternity suit. Interestingly, fate intertwined with the judicial system, as McCraney had been ordered by a judge to undergo a DNA test on the day before the murders. However, records indicate that he failed to comply with this order, adding a perplexing twist to the case. It is noteworthy that McCraney had no prior criminal history and did not emerge as a potential suspect during the initial investigation in 1999. Life moved forward for him, and in 2001, he entered into a new marriage. At the time of his arrest, McCraney was a bishop motivational speaker working for the Lord. McCraney was sentenced to life imprisonment. During the trial, Carol Roberts, Tracie's mother, expressed the profound difficulty of facing holidays without her daughter's presence, recounting the pain of an empty chair that should have been filled by Tracie. Cheryl Burgoon, JB's mother, also shared the enduring anguish and the deep struggle to come to terms with the loss of her beloved daughter, expressing her intense sorrow and anger in the courtroom. Today's narrative serves as a somber reminder that darkness can reside even within the most unassuming facades. What are your thoughts on this case? Are you convinced that justice has been served? Kindly share your thoughts in the comments section below, and don't forget to subscribe on our channel for more crime stories.